This is the second video of this universe kind of nebula line of encaustic paintings that I'm creating. I'm still kind of experimenting with how best I can get the look that I'm going for. And I really like the colors I used last time, so I'm using those same colors this time, but I'm starting with the colors instead of with the black. Because last time the black really kind of soaked into the wood and created some harsh brush lines that I didn't really like, even though they were kind of covered up in later layers. So this time I'm starting with the color and hoping that that kind of blends and softens those harsh black brush strokes. And it worked really well. You can see there's no harsh blunt lines of black. It's blending with the colors pretty well. And once again, I'm using my heat gun to kind of push around the colors and blend them a little bit more. And I really like these colors. You can see that they're pretty opaque, so they're fairly transparent, which makes them work really well for using them over my shellac burns throughout the rest of the painting. But the colors still show up, especially since I didn't put any black underneath the blue or the purple. I'm using the same colors of metallic shellac that I did last time. I'm blending it with metallic alcohol inks, gold and silver. I just added a few drops to a very small amount of shellac. And I love those burns. Those burns turned out really well. This painting is progressing really nicely. Now, last time, if you'll remember, if you watch my other video, you'll remember that in some of the later layers, I added clear. It was clear, medium, but it was kind of I had used a little bit of white in it to kind of overcome some of the yellowish tendency that clear encaustic medium has. So it was clear, but it looked white against the black background, and it was pretty distracting. And I didn't want to do that this time. So this time I'm just over my shellac burn, I'm using the same colors, the blue, the purple, and the black. And they're opaque enough that it's working really well. Now, as I move the wax around with my heat gun and blending the colors, you'll notice, if you look carefully, you'll see the shellac is moving too. And normally I don't like that. I don't want that to happen. But this time, since I'm blending the colors, the shellac, it's okay if it moves a little bit. I mean, it's just kind of floating there in the wax. And, as long as it's not folding over or I don't want to do it too much, but if it moves a little bit, I'm not worried about it. Now this silver that I added to that first piece is way too thick. And when it's thick like that, you don't get a really good burn afterwards, and plus it takes a really long time to dry. So it's better to do kind of thinner layers of shellac like I'm doing on the other parts of the painting. Yeah, you can see it's burning a little bit, but the cells don't really look that great, and the little tendrils especially don't burn well when they're really thick like that. It's too much shellac to constrict very much when it burns. One of the things I love too about doing the different layers of shellac burn on top of each other is how some of the silver and gold tendrils kind of show through the black portions. Because the black is it's black enough that it really covers the wood and it shows dark, but it's opaque enough that the metallic of the shellac will still peek through even when I've covered it with a little bit of the black. And I love how it peeks through like that. I think it adds a really cool effect. Now this, I was really loving the way the painting progresses, but this is where I lose it completely. I wanted to try a different experiment with this line as I'm, working on perfecting it. And I thought adding stars would be kind of a cool effect to this, kind of nebula galaxy painting. But I wasn't sure how to do that exactly. So instead of India ink or oil paint, I decided to splash some droplets of wax on it. And it it was a total miss. The using my brush to splash the wax created droplets that are way too big for these pieces. And I try to overcome it by using this tiny little brush to kind of make smaller splashes and blend it a little bit, but it's just too much. And I'm cringing as I'm watching myself work. I'm trying to fix it by putting some black over it to disguise it, but it's just not working. And it does kind of create a cool effect as I fuse it. The droplets of the droplets of white kind of spread out a little bit and create a glowing effect almost. So I think it maybe could work if I'm a little more um, conservative about how much I splash on there, and if the painting is much larger to kind of offset those larger droplets. But on this piece, it just looks awful. And I try to fix it by adding some black on top to kind of cover some of the white, maybe make it stand out a little bit less. But all that does is make the white spots look like they're growing out of the wax, like it's mold or something. And it just made everything worse. So I'm pretty disappointed in myself for messing these pieces up like this. Yeah, it just looks terrible. And I still haven't quite given up. I'm adding another layer of shellac, but I just, yeah, I totally screwed these paintings up by adding those white splashes. But, that's what experiments are for. You try things and sometimes they fail spectacularly. But it has given me some ideas for maybe some larger pieces and what not to do in my other pieces, especially the small ones like this. Thank you guys for watching. I hope it's been instructive, even my big mess up. If you're looking for the first part, you can find it in the description. I'll be posting a third part as well in a week or so. So watch out for that. And thanks again for watching, you guys. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.